Good morning or good afternoon. Dumelang, Lolweni, Tatwanani, Matsiare, Meda. Today we are in a village, a historic village called Kraaipan, well known as Kraaipan, but we'll divulge the indigenous name later. Kraaipan is an Afrikaans name. The village is found in Ratlo local municipality in Ngakamudu-Molema district, one of the 4 districts of Northwest Province. Before we proceed further, why I say this place is a historic space, I'm going to read a short clip on this monument where we are, which says the battle at Kraaipan during the night of 12th October 1899, the first encounter of the South African War, 1899 to 1902, took place at the foot of the hills to the west of the Kraaipan station. A commando under General J.H. de la Rey derailed an armored train called the Mosquito and First Lieutenant R.H. Nesbitt of the Bechuanaland Protectorate Regiment and his men to surrender. And remember, the war that is stated here, in fact, was between the Afrikaners and the British, but also involved the indigenous people. Hence, it's called the South African War, because we were caught up in between these two groups, which were truly fighting for the human, what I can say, the natural resources of this land. Land and its natural resources was the main crux of this conflict and disputes between the British as well as the Afrikaners, or those who came from Netherlands or the Dutch land. So the first bullet was shot in this Kraaipan village. As you can see in this monument, it actually shows the depiction of that particular incident, the bullet going through this particular object. Yeah, and General J.H. de la Rey has been celebrated quite tremendously by the African nation as their hero. Remember, we have what we call the La Rey View, that is named after him. We also have got his horse, 6-meter bronze statue located in the middle of Lichtenburg in the Witwatersrand, honoring the same General de la Rey who represented the Afrikaner people, and the lieutenant who said he was the Bechuanaland Protectorate Regiment, represented the British. As we know that Botswana was a colony of Britain, as well as South Africa. But then South Africa had a conflict of these two groups, and we have got a strong heritage of the African nation, which established itself here in South Africa in 1652. So there were power relations between these two nations for the human resource, or should I say the natural resources of this land. And when you look at our heritage, it can actually tell you about the history of two nations in terms of the naming of towns and cities, the naming of streets, the naming of places like this place where we are, called Kraaipan, which is an Afrikaans name. And when we translate it into Setswana, it means Mahukubu. Now, Mahukubu is a particular bird that was found in it's a particular landscape which looks like a dam, but then they call it a pen. So that pen, that's where a lot of Mahukubu were found. And that's how these Afrikaner nationalists named the place Kraaipan Village. But then before then, there was a name that the local people used to call Motokalinzi. According to the research, it is stated that the name came to be as a result of generational transfer of education or knowledge, because it is stated that Motokalinzi, when you unpick it, it means horokotoka, to easy a particular knowledge about something that happened before, which means there was a breakdown between the elderly to transmit knowledge to the young ones to say what happened really in this particular place to be called Motokalinzi. Maybe it could relate to the same war that took place, which led to the change of name from the indigenous one to the one that was used by colonizers, because their main aim was to ensure that their cultural heritage is preserved and protected. And that you can see even by geographical spatiality of South Africa, which is even evident in Northwest, where you find a town, and where a town is established mainly during those days, it was populated by white people, and on the sea of that town you'll find the Indian people, and then closer to the Indian people there will be an establishment of the township of colored people, and far away from there it will be either a village or a township populated by black people. That is the picture that you find in the entire South Africa, where you find establishment of towns. Mahikeng is a typical example of that. It's a town, and closer to that you've got Denville, and before Denville you've got location that is populated by Indian people, and then you have the Denville, and in the villages, in the outskirts, it's black people. So that particular scenario, you see it all over the place. So coming back to Kraaipan, where we are is not only this monument which celebrates that particular incident that took place in 1899 to 1902, but there is also a museum which was established in 2008 by the Department of Arts, Culture, Sport and Recreation. Then Sports, Recreation, Arts and Culture under the unit Museums and Heritage. They saw it fit to establish the museum which tells the history and the culture of the people of this place, but over and above the people of Ratlo as a whole, because it is stated that according to research, when the 5 branches that I often talk about, Ratlo, Tshigi, Seleka, Makheta and Rapulana, spread out from places like your Taung, Hanyesa to this side, they spread to different areas. We know Barolombora, Seleka found in Tabanchu, Barolombora to be actually settled in this area, Kraaipan as well as Kunwana, and then there is also another area called Setahole where you find them. But according to the history, the first leg of Ratlo was located here in this village called Kraaipan, or Motokalinzi or Mahukubu, which says to you that if now his first foot was here, and now currently the elderly Bukhosi among this family of Ratlo is in Kunwana and Mutwe, that will mean that there was perhaps the shift of quota from this area to that area of Kunwana. And then I was also telling you about the other branch, which is Tshigi, which is located in Mahikeng together with Makheta, and then Rapulana located in the areas of Lotlaka, Nebudi, Suseng, and so forth. So those are the 5 branches of Barolo, who are the children of Kositau, whom Tau is named after. So yeah, this is the monument, and behind us is that museum, which is a cultural history museum. It is named after the village, a colonial name, by the way, Kraaipan Cultural History Museum. And it has to actually change, because the museum tells the history and the culture of the people. So if you say Kraaipan, truly it tells little about the people who are residing in this area. I give thanks.